Is called to order concurrently at 6:09 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Ortiz.
Hand over your heart and repeat after me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, will you call for the roll, please?
Chairperson Smith,
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Present.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Present.
and the other two are absent.
Absent, yes. Thank you. Now we'll have oral communications. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission on items not on the public hearing portion of the agenda. After obtaining permission to proceed by the preceding officer, speakers should first state their full name and address for the record. The speaker shall limit their address to 3 minutes. Any public comments that are discriminatory, defamatory, or otherwise not protected speech will not be considered, consented to, or otherwise adopted by the Planning Commission in its deliberations and findings. As a courtesy to others, please silence cell phones and other electronic devices. The Planning Commission strives to treat all participants with civility, and we ask that you do the same. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commissioners? If you are, please come up to the microphone. Seeing nobody, I will close oral communications. We'll now recess the Airport Zoning Commission, and we'll have the Planning Commission consent calendar.
We have no items.
Thank you. Continued public hearings. Conditional use permit 2022 CU10, new car wash at 14115 Crenshaw Boulevard. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit 2022 CU10. The applicant asked for this item to be continued to December 7th, 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion to continue to this December 7th meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Secretary, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
Chairperson Smith.
Yes,
Okay, this is continued to December 7th.
thank you. New public hearings. Conditional use permit 2022 CU08, alcohol sales. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit 2022 CU08. Planning Clerk Nicole Houston will present the staff report.
Nicole, pull the microphone towards you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nicole Houston, Planning Clerk, and I will be presenting conditional use permit application number 2022 CU08 for the on-site sale of beer and wine, type 41 ABC license at Tata's Cafe. The applicant is requesting approval to provide beer and wine service for customers in conjunction with the purchase of food for dine-in. The property is located within a C3 General Commercial Zone near the northwest corner of West El Segundo Boulevard and Hawthorne Boulevard. It is surrounded by various commercial uses, City Hall, a hotel, the former Hawthorne Mall. The restaurant occupies 3,100 square feet of tenant space within an established multi-tenant commercial property. The total lot area of the site is approximately 15,500 square feet, with vehicle access from both West El Segundo Boulevard and Hawthorne Boulevard. Tata's is a full-service restaurant with 58 interior seats and no patio or exterior seating. The hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The applicant is proposing beer and wine to be sold during some same hours of operations. Staff recommends that Planning Commission adopt PC Resolution 2022-13 approving CUP 2022 CU08 for a Type 41 beer and wine license for an existing restaurant. Because this project complies with the Hawthorne Municipal Code, is compatible with adjacent land uses, and will not result in negative impacts to the surrounding neighborhood. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution number 2022-13 approving CUP for the on-site of beer and wine with a bona fide eating establishment. That concludes my presentation. Does the commission have any questions for this?
Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff?
No?
Okay.
No.
Is the applicant present and would they wish to speak? Would you like to speak? Come up to the microphone, please.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Sherry Olson. I'm consultant for the owner, Louis, right here, and we're happy to be part of this community, and we look forward to serving the patrons of this area. Since we've been opened, our sales have increased, and we're looking forward to a successful business in the city. And we look forward to seeing you all there and enjoying the food that we have at our restaurant. We're working on an expanded menu right now, and we're excited about it. So we're just moving forward, and we're here to answer the questions or concerns you might have for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on this issue? Mr. McLean, are there any documents to place into the administrative record?
There are none.
Do my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions for staff?
No.
I now formally close the public hearing on this item. So do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairperson Smith.
Yes.
All right, this is approved.
Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. Zoning text amendment 2022 ZA01, cannabis land uses. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider zoning text amendment 2022 ZA01. Interim Director McLean will present the staff report.
Thank you. Earlier in this month, the City Council approved the ability for cannabis businesses to open in the city. That includes up to six retail, and technically unlimited delivery, testing, distribution, and there's one other one I forgot. But those are the industrial uses. This ordinance is a companion to that, and this one sets the zoning locations. And in the ordinance itself, there's a table that shows that the retail businesses would be permitted to operate out of industrial or commercial zones, and that includes all of our commercial zones. And the other businesses, the other cannabis-related businesses would be restricted to the industrial zones. There are buffers around sensitive uses that are included, and I've put a map in your staff report, and there's one up on the screen showing 600 feet separation from schools and parks and 150 feet separation from treatment and certain care facilities, daycare facilities, adult and children. We entertained other larger radii, but it just left almost nothing left for the location of these uses. So this is just really straightforward. We just say that the uses are permitted in the commercial and industrial zones according to that table. And we're looking for your recommendation to the city council to approve this.
Okay,
Applications for businesses are expected to start early next year.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's one other additional thing. The retail uses will require a conditional use permit, so you will be seeing all of the retail uses.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does the planning commission have any questions for staff? If you do, please speak up.
And you were saying that we're only allowing 6 retail?
That's the limit that the ordinance put.
Okay. And then I noticed that we're just doing amendments to the areas of the code that deal with the cannabis. Will we have to make any other amendments to the other sections of the code that deal with the sensitive use areas?
No, actually, this ordinance addresses the R1 zone, and it addresses the commercial and industrial zones in very small little sections because they had prohibitions of called marijuana uses. We're removing those from the commercial and industrial zones. And in the R1 zone, there was some language that was incompatible, so we fixed that. But the radius requirements are in the new chapter on cannabis, and that's a good place for them to be. So we don't need to adjust the code anywhere else. Once these uses are established, then you know, outside of the radius of the sensitive uses, they're good, they could stay. The sensitive uses are not subject to the restriction. So if a cannabis business is already up and running, they do not have to stay, you know, 600 feet away from a retail store. That would be a business decision for them to make if they wanted to or not.
Okay. Is that similar to what we do for like the alcohol
Yep.
uses?
Exactly the same. The radius is 600 instead of 500. And we made a smaller radius for the treatment facilities because we think that in some regards this will be more benign, and we didn't want to actually exclude most of the property, so that would be available. But otherwise, the sensitive uses are the same sensitive uses. And so, you know, it's treated the same way. That's also treated in the alcohol chapter.
Okay. And then, will we be adding any more regulations similar to like the conditions that we give for like the alcohol uses?
Yes, the ordinance that was adopted by the council includes a number of restrictions but they're not the land use restrictions. They're the business use restrictions. So we just pulled out the land use restrictions for this ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Now, it's not nearly as explicit as it could be because all of the retail are the ones that we see as most important to regulate, and all of them will require conditional use permits. So you will be able to put conditions on their approval on a case-by-case basis rather than a blanket condition. And of course, you're free to put the same condition on all of them too. That's a possibility as well.
And then for cannabis consumption area, the definition, maybe it's in the business part of the code, but I think that we should probably have more of indicating the definition like a percentage, because it sounds like
That's in the other part. That's in the other
It
ordinance.
is.
And then just for clarification, 3 of the retail businesses will be permitted, if they choose, to have a consumption area, but only 3. It won't be all 6.
And then do you know of the percentage that they can have for cannabis consumption area?
It's a square feet limit, and I don't recall the numbers. It's not as large as half, but it's, I'm sorry, I don't remember. It was not that large. I thought maybe 1,200 square feet or something.
Okay. Do you know if it's in their definition, like in the their definition for cannabis consumption area?
I think it was in that ordinance too. Sorry, I don't have that in front of me though.
Okay. That's all my questions.
Through the chair, I have a couple questions. When you mentioned treatment facilities, is it just exclusive to marijuana use, or is it just treatment facilities in general? Or,
You mean the separation requirement?
yeah,
That applies to the marijuana uses.
okay.
Yeah.
And then for the retail locations that would be subject to a CUP, does police department review the proposed locations for like security issues prior to it coming before us, or?
There are requirements of a security plan as part of the application process. And so we will have that from the very get-go.
Okay.
And there are requirements that they link into the police surveillance system so that the police will have the ability to see what's going on all the time. And I believe that the security plan is going to have to be approved by the police, yeah.
Okay. No more questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on this issue that's in the audience? If you are, please come to the microphone. Seeing no one. Mr. McLean, are there any documents to place into the administrative record?
There are none.
Do my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions for staff?
I would at least like the cannabis consumption area definition to be updated in, to be, similar to the business section where it indicates the percentage of the retail space that can be dedicated for the cannabis consumption area.
We can put that, that definition clarification is probably most appropriately put into this ordinance. As long as it doesn't conflict with the previous one, which is already fully adopted, we should be okay with that. So what limitation did you have in mind?
I just want it to be the same.
Okay,
Whatever that ordinance has, for it to be the same as this one.
so what I'll do then is I will review the previous ordinance and I will add the language to the definition in this ordinance that mirrors what was approved. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
And then since we're gonna have to review them for the conditional use permits, in the findings, will we be looking at just this section of the code, or are we also looking at the business?
No, you'll have, I mean, with a conditional use permit, you're entitled to look at the comprehensive project. I will say, though, that we're expecting a lot of applications, and only 6 retail will be selected to even apply for CUP. So hopefully, that isn't going to be a big problem.
Okay.
There's a committee that the city has set up to review the applications and select the top 6.
Yeah, that's all my questions.
Okay, thank you. I now formally close the public hearing on this item. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve, and with the proposed change by Commissioner Caravelle.
I'll second.
Okay.
Will the secretary please call for the vote?
Commissioner Ortiz?
Yes.
Commissioner Caravelle?
Yes.
Chairperson Smith?
Yes.
Okay, so this was approved with the change in the definition of sensitive uses.
Okay, thank you. We'll now call back to order the Airport Zoning Commission. We have nothing?
No,
Are there any administrative items?
not this week.
Items to be placed on future agendas?
We will have some things on the next meeting. There's a number of things that we're expecting to come, but nothing on this one.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have anything you want to report on?
No, I'll just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and enjoy.
I'll just say congratulations to all the people that won their elections, and happy Thanksgiving.
We have a manager's report.
I have nothing this week, but I do want to clarify, when I said, when I reiterated what was approved, I said the definition of sensitive uses, and I think you wanted me to change the definition of retail with consumption lounges. So I just want to put that on the record. I understood what your intent was. That's all I have.
Yeah, the cannabis consumption areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing else. This meeting is adjourned to 6:29 PM to the next regular meeting of December the 7th, 2022. Thank you, everybody, for being here.